Perfect.
Have you heard? Nicki Minaj opened up this week about some issues that she had with prescription drugs and addiction. Nicki Minaj spoke to Vogue for their cover story and spoke candidly just about issues that she had with Percocets. Said she was prescribed them for menstrual cramps and did not know how addictive they could be. Began taking them for the issue, but then even started taking them after no longer dealing with the issue or when she wasn't in pain. And she said she really just had no knowledge about how addictive these prescription drugs could be. She said about Percocet specifically, no one told me this was a narcotic that was addictive. Luckily, I was able to ground myself, but once an addict, always an addict. I feel like if you ever experienced addiction or anything, which I have, you always have to think twice and three times about the choices that you make. And that's true. I got to give props here to Nicki Minaj for even talking about this. And I think she tried to let us in, obviously, in the past, and then she's opened up in interviews. And I remember she had the song Pills and Potions and all that. And it's something that, they touched on. But I think it's really important because we've lost, so many greats that we kind of wish that someone spoke to them and someone pulled them aside. So to see someone that's killing it like Nicki Minaj on so many levels, breaking so many awards, made so many first in rap and female rap on top of that to see her talk about a moment when she wasn't at her greatest, when she wasn't out here shining, is important. It's important to see that. Something she also said is look at our biggest celebrities. They eventually get laughed out of wanting to go outside anymore, like Michael Jackson, or criticized, like Whitney Houston, or they fight silent battles, like Prince. These are the greatest of all times, and one day they decide, you know what? I'd rather self-medicate and be in my own world. And I thought that was deep, because those are some of the greats that we have in black music, and we watched them all go down to drug addiction in one way or the other, So I give props to the Queen's native, Nicki Minaj, for even just touching on the subject. It's so, as I've grown up in life and I've seen things change, man, I remember two things that we really shunned upon and are different now is talking about mental health. You could be way open about it now than I feel like you could have been 20 years ago, 30 years ago, definitely. And the other thing is addiction. You talk about struggles that you've had, and it's obviously a lot easier to talk about once you get back up. The game is better told than it is sold, So it's instead of having to go through that experience, learn it from somebody else's mistakes, and we see it right now with the controversy going on about Kodak Black's appearance on Drink Champs. A lot of people are like, yo, Nori, you can't be having Kodak out here looking like that. I mean, the premise of the show is to consume alcohol and to get people to open up. And a lot of people felt like Kodak wasn't out here in his best light looking like an addict, to, be honest with you. And I'm sure Kodak is dealing with things in his own way, but we also need somebody out there, and it don't got to be publicly, it don't got to be online, it don't got to be in a post, but put your arm around Kodak and maybe pull him to the side and be like, yo, there's help out here, there's things you could do. You don't got to feel like you got to drown all your feelings in a substance, and there's a point where there's no coming back from that, and you don't want to lose your greatness and your genius to the wrong things. So salute once again to Nicki Minaj for definitely opening up about it and how serious this could be. We just lost Matthew Perry, who went through the same thing. He was prescribed prescription drugs one day, and he went from having one vice to having a different one now with prescription drugs, and eventually we lost him. So let's talk about these things. Let's address these things. Let's be real about it, because that's the only way we're gonna move past it, man. What it do is your guy DJ Playboy, man. I'm holding it down for the Perfect Talk podcast, and I'm so grateful that y'all checked out this short clip. But if y'all like what you see, man, go check out the full episodes, hit that subscribe button, and hop in the comments, baby.